Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Habiba Jadun from section 1A. The topic of my presentation is Rules for Structuralism. Before moving on to my topic, I would like to give a brief introduction about what is structuralism. Structuralism is a first school of thought and philosophy, as there are four basic or more prominent schools of thought and philosophy, and structuralism is one of them, which sought to identify the structure, the components, the elements of mind. Structuralism is an intellectual movement to the human science with a profound effect on the linguistics, sociology, and other fields like philosophy. Basically, structuralism is an intellectual movement. It uses the intelligence, and it's a human science which has a great effect on many fields like linguistics, literature, sociology, philosophy, and many other fields of education. The focus of structuralism was reducing a mental process down into the most of the basic concept or most basic components. As I said, this structuralism sought to identify the structure of mind, that how a thinking or a mental process can be break down into simplified components. I want to explain it through a very basic example. For example, if someone had a hand burn, he has the feeling of pain. If someone's had a hand burn, he has the feeling of pain. Now I am going to break down this feeling of pain into its basic components. That feeling of pain involves a mental process. Now this complex mental process is going to break down into its basic structures and elements. That is, the person touches the fire, the stimulus is received by the skin, and that these nerves transfer that stimuli to the brain, and then brain responded it as a hand burn. This is an example in daily life. If I want to say that, if I say there's a sentence, the focus of structuralism. The focus of structuralism, this sentence contains 4 words. The focus of structuralism. I can further break down it to THEFOCUS. These things can be broken down into their simplest units just to clarify, just to understand the things in a very basic way. So this slide is about the rules for structuralism. That what are the basic principles for this theory structuralism. The structuralist, the person who studies or believes in structuralism, believe that underlying structures which organizes the units and rules into a meaningful system are generated by the human mind itself and not by sense perception. So this sentence has a very deep meaning. It says that the very primary, the very fundamental structures which organizes the small units and put them together into a very meaningful system. This all thing is done by human mind. It is done by our mind and not by our sense perceptions. Our 5 senses are not involved in doing any kind of this process. This whole thing is done by human mind. Here I would like to differentiate between the brain and the mind. Just to clarify, brain is not mind, but mind contains the brain. That is, brain is basically a physical part that we study in science, but mind, it is a term in philosophy. It is a metaphysical thing. It has no physical shape, but it do exist. So brain is basically a part of mind. Mind contains the brain. The next thing is that as such, human mind is itself a structure, a mechanism which looks through units and file them according to the rules. So the first statement said that our mind classify, our mind put the things together in order to give a meaningful system. But if I talk about mind, our mind as a whole is itself composed of the basic structure. As the structuralism definitions or the focus is on to identify the components of mind. It means that mind that organizes, that rules the things into the meaningful system, it itself has its basic components, basic units, basic elements, and which help that mind to put the things together according to the rules, according to the principles, according to the regulation. Here the next slide says that structuralism sees itself as a science of humankind and works to uncover all the structures that underlie all the things that humans do, think, perceive, and feel. What structuralism is basically? Structuralism is a science of humankind. That if we have sciences like chemistry, physics, biology, so structuralism is also a science, but it is a science of human. As if chemistry is a science of chemicals, physics is a science of laws, biology is a science of human body, that structuralism is a science of humankind and human mind, and which works to uncover, unearth, and open up all the structures that underlie all the things that humans do, think, perceive, and feel. Basically, the structuralism works to uncover, to unfold all the things. For example, if a word is uttered by a human, what was the reason behind saying that word? What was the thinking? What was the perspective? What was the feelings? What were the beliefs behind that thing? That all things are concerned in structuralism. Structuralism underlies on the concept that every system possesses a structure, and that structure deals with the coexistence, the change, and then the structure. Basically, structuralism deals with the thing or with the concept that everything on this earth, on this universe, is composed of a structure. And that structure, that's basically the structure refers to the order or the patterns. That patterns and that orders deals with the coexistence of that structure, that how different components are combining, how different structures, how different patterns are combining, and they as a result give a meaningful system. For example, here I give an example of a very basic thing. If one thinks about apple, the things that comes into all of our mind is that an apple is round, it's juicy, it's hot, it's crisp, and it's red, or whatever the color it is. The word was just simple apple. Now this apple is a language word. It's a word in language, but what was the belief, the reason, the feel behind it? That was, it's round, it's juicy, it's hot, it's crisp. Now these all things are beliefs and perspective that collectively represents the apple. Round is a separate thing, juicy is a separate structure, hard is a separate, but these all random things combine in a way and gives us the description of a thing that is apple. Thank you very much. I